What's the matter? You tired?
No, just I don't. But we're talking about one of the most famous
All time.
movies ever made.
That's cool. Do you feel an onus on you? A weight on your shoulders?
Not after watching it. No.
1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners, the only show on the World Wide Web where Hollywood's biggest night is 24/7.
Yes.
I am one of your hosts, Rat.
Whoa, very cool. And I'm one of your other hosts, Jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my name's actually Michael.
Cool.
His name's actually Ander.
Hi.
That's a little bit we do. It's kind of silly and quirky.
Will you like us?
Please like us.
Please like me.
Send us cash.
Don't send us cash, please.
This is a podcast where every week we pick a best picture winner at random and we try to see if it was best picture worthy. This week we're talking about none other than Gone with the Wind, 1940.
Damn.
Best picture winner.
1940?
1939, but
Okay.
won in 1940.
But it's practically 1940 at that point, right?
Yeah.
Might as well just round up.
Yeah. It's a movie about Scarlett O'Hara, who lives in the Old South in the days before the Civil War begins. She is pining for a man named Ashley Wilkes. I should actually say who is playing these people. Scarlett O'Hara is played by Vivian Leigh. Ashley Wilkes is played by Leslie Howard. She's vying for a man named Ashley Wilkes, who is marrying a woman named Melanie Hamilton.
Who is his cousin?
Who is his cousin, which I
Yeah.
think is really cool and normal. Melanie is played by Olivia de Havilland.
Why does she
So-
like him?
Huh?
Why does Scarlett like Ashley?
That's the fucking question of the movie.
I don't know why she likes anybody. I don't know why anyone likes anyone. I don't know why she likes Ashley. I don't know why she likes Rhett. I don't know why Ashley's married to Melanie, except for the fact that they're cousins. And this is the greatest romance ever made. I just don't get that.
I can't believe that Scarlett doesn't realize that Ashley's kind of a boring ass until like the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Well,
This
I
movie's
don't-
3 hours and 41 minutes long.
fuck, I can't believe we watched this, dude. Before we even get into it, I want to say one thing. I watched this. I watched this movie. I didn't, not with Subway. Thank you very much. There was no Subway Surfers gameplay.
I thought about pulling up Subway Surfer at one point.
I thought about it. I definitely had it in my head. I was like, I need something to distract me from this thing. But no, I set aside 4 hours of my day and watched this. I could have flown to the South and seen it myself, frankly.
All right, so Scarlett likes Ashley. Ashley is marrying his cousin. The Civil War breaks out. I'm just trying to just get through this so we can talk about this
How do
movie.
how do you want to do this? Because we can't get into the plot. The plot is massive.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let me just finish summing it up, and then we can just
Go ahead.
kind of jump around. So
Go
the Civil
ahead.
War breaks out. Scarlet becomes like a nurse.
Yeah.
She tries to go back home to Tara, which I guess is the town or land that her family owns.
That's the name of her racist ass plantation.
Right. That's the name of the plantation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a kind of love triangle, not really, but kind of between Scarlet, kind of a love square between Scarlet, Ashley, Rhett Butler, who is like this kind of sultry Southern man who
With
just
a
sort
mustache.
with a mustache, played by Clark Gable, who is like kind of lives on the fringes of society, but is also like rich and cool, I guess, or something.
What's
He's like
his
Han
deal?
Solo if Han Solo was the worst guy.
Honestly, that's a great comparison. I want to know what his deal was. Like, he's a traveler. Like, why did he show up at this dance or this they had a barbecue, I guess. Why did he show up from Charleston?
Everybody knows who he is. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's Rhett Butler.
Yeah, everyone knows him, but his family disowned him. Like, he's kind of just a wanderer picking up chicks from plantations left and right.
Yeah.
And then he also has millions of dollars. I feel like that was kind of announced out of nowhere. Like, they get... Yeah.
I should
Yeah.
This movie is directed by Victor Fleming.
Oh, good.
The same year he directed this movie. I mean, this movie had... So George Cukor, or whoever, who directed My Fair
It's like,
Lady.
what? Yeah.
He initially started like he was the director on this movie, then he was fired because Clark Gable didn't like him. And they brought in Victor Fleming, who was later replaced by some other guy because Victor Fleming was exhausted.
Oh, wait, someone else finished the movie?
I think so. At least for like I think for this other guy took over for a couple weeks, and then Victor Fleming came back and finished the movie. In the same year, Victor Fleming directed The Wizard of Oz.
The same year?
Yeah, Victor Fleming
Christ on a cracker,
has
man.
two movies that come out in 1939 are The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind.
What compelled him to make this a torturous experience? I guess it was 1940 and everyone was just... No one really had much to do. If you had a free Saturday or Sunday, it's like you get 4 hours of air conditioning, right? And you just sit and watch a movie.
You know, I imagine people saw this movie so much because it was like, oh, I may never see it again.
Why? Because they
They
might
didn't-
get tuberculosis?
No, they didn't know DVDs were coming around. They didn't know like
didn't see
TV
that
was going to
shit
be a
coming?
thing.
They
like,
didn't know?
They're like, maybe I get to see this movie for this 1 week that it's playing in my small town in Oklahoma. I need to kind of see it every single day.
You know what? I never thought about that. That's such a good point. Like, if you missed it in theaters, it was just gone with the wind, you know?
Nice, dude.
Thank you very much. Did you get a little a warning before your viewing?
Yeah, so they I read on Wikipedia, I read that after the murder of George Floyd, not to get so serious, but after the murder of George Floyd, Warner Brothers or HBO Max briefly took Gone with the Wind off the service because it presents obviously outdated stereotypes about enslaved black people.
Yeah.
Just black people in general, not even just enslaved black people. And yeah. So and then when they brought it back, they filmed that like little intro.
Right.
Which is basically like, this movie's super racist, and we present it to you because it's culturally significant as like an example of outdated art.
We're about to show you this racist piece of garbage, but everyone in 1940 loved it, so now it's culturally significant forever.
That sucks.
Yeah, right?
So much like shit like this was probably made then and just has been forgotten to history because like people didn't go see it.
Yeah,
But it's like
this will
because
never
people
be
went
forgotten
to see it,
because
now
people,
we
yeah,
can't forget it.
yes, that's basically. Honestly,
That's an interesting point.
I genuinely tried to wipe the slate, my mental slate clean going into this, and just be like, it can't be as bad as people say. But 30 seconds in, they describe slavery as, a beautiful bygone era, and they talk about marrying their cousins. Like 60 seconds, not even exaggerating. It's the opening
Crawl.
it's the opening crawl. Like, here we bring you to beautiful antebellum South, where slavery is is the way of life, and people live. It's a beautiful bygone era that deserves to be cherished, and here we are. It's like, okay, great, thanks for that reminder.
Cool.
Great, I can't wait to pretend to sympathize with these characters. Awesome. You're on such thin ice to start as a character in this movie, and they just get worse. Like, it's not like they were these incredibly charitable or friendly or likable people. They're all pretty much bad. There's really no one that's truly likable. Melanie is, I guess. I don't know. I know it's supposed to be a classic, but was there anything that stood out to you in particular that you really
Yeah.
liked?
I think this movie looks incredible.
Yeah, it looks great.
It
Fantastic.
looks so good.
I was like, oh, they knew how to do. I was like, look at these colors. They did colors back then?
See, but even the colors, like, they feel like vivid in a way that doesn't feel like staged. It's almost like when things are like really bright and almost like golden, it feels like it's this like beautiful sun on these people. Like, it's not like stage lights. It feels like painterly or something, the way the lighting and colors pop in this movie.
Yeah, that's a good description of it. Yeah, because it's you know what? It's lighting, it's color without lens flares and all this stuff that we have today. Like, it was just kind of unsullied. But it does leave a bad taste in my mouth to know that it was in service of, look how beautiful the antebellum South is. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of it. It's basically propaganda. Honestly, its greatest offense is that nothing really struck me except for, I think it is a really striking depiction of death and of war. Like, the scenes where the North is invading and Atlanta's getting overrun, and they have like that huge infirmary of like all those soldiers, and they just pan out to show like all these bodies basically like begging for Scarlett's help because she's acting as a nurse. That was very striking to me. And the scene where they're amputating that dude's leg, they don't show any blood and gore, but just kind of his silhouette of the man screaming and howling, and you're like, oh, like, that sends a chill down your spine. You're like, damn.
Yeah, war's bad. I hate to take that stance so publicly, but we're bad.
Yeah, I think we're pretty brave for saying that.
Another thing I'll say I like about this movie is I like how I love a movie where a character doesn't necessarily learn anything until like the very end. Like Scarlett O'Hara.
No. She did not. Sorry, but she did not learn a single thing. She only rejects Ashley at the end because Ashley was like, I actually never loved you. And she's like, I never loved you either, bozo. But she does. She's just so irrational of a human being who will marry someone at the drop of the hat to make someone else jealous. She marries 3 people in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, she just uses marriage and manipulation as a means to, bolster her own values. She wants to save Tara, the plantation, so she's gonna marry this other dude and basically take his money. She wants to make Ashley jealous, so she's gonna marry Michael Cera. That guy was Michael Cera, right? She marries Michael Cera just to make him jealous, and then he dies 2 days later, and like,
he gets pneumonia.
It's portrayed so comically though. Like, it's not sad. It's just like,
when her dad dies, I thought it was so funny. He falls off the horse and then it just cuts to his gravestone. I was like, he's dead.
Well, as messed up as it is, their child dies in the same way. And it's kind of funny. Like,
And 'cause
she rides her
she,
pony. She's like, Daddy, watch me on the pony.
and then Scarlett's like, it's exactly like Pa. Rhett, it's exactly like Pa. Stop her. And I'm like, what the fuck is this movie?
She crashes into the fence. And then she's
Yeah.
dead. Like, that sucks. Like talk about an entire hour that didn't need to happen. Why did they even have that child? Why was she in
Okay.
this
I
story?
want to get into the last like hour of this. Okay. What I like about this movie is
Yeah.
I think Scarlett O'Hara as a character, I think is kind of interesting in the way that first of all, I always think it's kind of funny. I don't know how old she's supposed to be when this movie starts. My guess is like 17.
I was gonna say 18 or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I love teenage indifference when like really important world like historical events are happening. Like I love that like the Civil War is like about to break out and she's like, oh God, I just want Ashley to love me. Like that
Yeah.
feels so true to like being a young person is you're like, I don't care about what's going on outside of me.
Yeah. And then
Um,
she does have that development where it's like, now
Right.
this is on my front doorstep. I need
And
to care about it.
And I think that's interesting. I think it's interesting
Mhm.
that she starts that way and then she experiences the horrors of war. And but I also love that so she experiences the horrors of war and instead of it like changing her for the better, it's like because when she returns to Terra, it's like completely decimated
Hmm.
and her and like the people that remain there like struggle to like make money and feed the like eat and stuff like that. I like that development doesn't make her more sympathetic, but actually she's like, I'm never going to be poor again, so I'm actually going to become a lumber baron quietly.
and she does. Go off, queen.
I'm gonna marry this guy purely for like why does she marry that older guy? Like is it for his like lumber access?
I really don't know. Well, not only does she marry him, that's her sister's husband or fiance.
I think it's her sister's like quarter. Like he's going to marry her soon.
Right.
Like he's going to propose marriage soon. And then she's like,
Yeah.
marry me, man. And he's like, okay.
I think that's how she gets the $300. I don't know why I was gonna say like euros or something. It's $300.
Yeah, to pay for the union taxes.
Yeah, the taxes on their
they're-
property.
Yeah, that the North is ramping up.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Right. And then she like becomes a lumber baron.
With Ashley, right? Isn't he involved in that?
I think so.
Yeah.
And like throughout the entire movie, she's a nursing, and the movie covers, especially the last hour, once they have Bonnie, Rhett and Scarlett have their daughter Bonnie, the movie
Mhm.
will just like jump like 5 years. Like it'll just like it jumps through time pretty quickly. So you're like,
Yeah, that kid grows up.
yeah, by the end of the movie, you're like, oh, it's probably been like what, 10 years since the Civil War?
Yeah.
And
Maybe-
she's
maybe a
still
little less.
nursing. Scarlett is still nursing a crush for like the boy she liked when she was 17, who like literally is nothing to write home about. He's fine.
He's intelligent, and I guess he's like a good soldier or military leader, but
Yeah, I mean,
they don't go into like any backstory with them or why she might like it. They don't address any of that at all. Like I hate how that's treated as so irrelevant, but I feel like that's the foundation for a good romance, and it's supposed to be the best romance ever.
Right. I will say too, I don't think Rhett is a better suitor,
No.
who is constantly forcing kisses on her and like kind of like assaults her, but like it's fine
he
because
says I'm gonna squeeze your head and crush it like a grape or something. It just gets pissed drunk and just
But then
her.
and then he carries her upstairs and he's like, I'm gonna he's like, I'm gonna assault you and you can't stop me when he's drunk. And then like in the morning, Scarlett's like, wow, that's the best sex I've ever had. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? What is this shit? This is actually like reprehensible shit that this movie is doing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, obviously it's
there's
racist.
already See,
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it surprised me. there was reprehensible shit that I thought was gonna happen, and then there was other reprehensible shit that
Yes.
happened on top of it
Like
that surprised me.
right, and Rhett's like constantly threatening to like hit Scarlet. You're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? I mean, I guess that's like, I don't know, that's like how people were, but like, I don't want to see that, and I don't care.
No. But she also never liked like he proposes to her and he asks her straight up, "Are you going to marry me for my money?" And she's like, "Yeah, kinda." And that's romance.
That's love.
That's love. Right? Like, is that not insane?
Yes.
Am I on an island here?
It's absolutely cuckoo pants. I was actually kind of, I mean, beyond again all the reprehensible stuff we've already addressed, like I thought it was like I could follow the arc. I knew what it was doing. And it's almost like the movie at some point could have reached some kind of conclusion to that story about like
Mhm.
how the South was destroyed by the Civil War, I guess, or whatever.
But it
But then
also
like
didn't feel conclusive because Rhett's whole story, Rhett and their relationship was left open ended. You know, like, well, this has to resolve, so it's like I got to sit through 2 more hours of this. Because
right,
you're right, it felt like it could have wrapped up. It had the tone of wrapping up nicely,
right.
but there were loose ends.
And that yeah, then the second half is basically reconstruction in the
Mhm.
South, post Civil War, and uh Rhett and Scarlett's like unromance developing.
Ah, yes, I love a good unromance.
I almost wish this was a part one and a part two. Like a Deathly Hollows part one and part two.
They should have done that. They should have called whoever made Potter.
I think Voldemort should have been in this movie, personally.
Voldemort should definitely have been in this movie. The whole last hour, once you get past 3 hours in a movie, anything any character says, I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
I think I said that at one point. I think somebody said something at some point. I'm like, shut up. I don't care.
Enough. Credits.
The scenes go on a little bit too long. Like there will be, it's because it's like an epic. There will be like little side characters that get like a 5 minute scene with a
Yeah.
character, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Um, so
There should be I appreciate that they have a little message at the beginning, but really what they should have done is add a little skip button. So like any scene where it's just like I don't care, a little button appears so you can just skip
That's
to the next relevant scene.
yeah, maybe it's like the little paper clip from the
Yes, get him.
The
He's
Microsoft
unemployed.
Word
Get him
days.
on this. He needs a project.
um
Get
Yeah,
Clippy
so Rhett
on
and
this.
Scarlett just keep going back and forth. And then the last half an hour, I was laughing frequently as all of this tragedy was unfolding so
Yeah.
close together. It was just like daughter dies, Melanie is dying, Rhett is leaving. I'm like,
That's
this
so
is
true.
so fast. You had 4 hours to spread all this out, and you're doing it in the last 30 minutes. Chill out.
Like, why did you procrastinate the whole movie to add drama? You had time. You had so much time.
Yeah.
And instead you just, I don't know, bounced around the South and wanted to show all this non-relevant shit.
Yeah. It like I just found it really silly.
Yeah. Because ironically, those are the things that could have made for an interesting movie. Except you put them so close to each other, it made it ridiculous.
Like I actually find we haven't talked at all about Hattie McDaniel. She's the first black person to win an Oscar at all ever.
Yeah. And
She
was
plays
not allowed to sit with her
yeah,
white
yeah, yeah,
co-stars.
yeah. The world is bad. She plays Mammy.
Yeah.
I don't think this performance is particularly good. I'm glad she
Oh, yeah.
was recognized,
Same.
right? Like that's good that she won an Oscar, but like
Mhm.
I think this performance is like fine. I don't know.
She's not really featured all that much, I didn't think.
Yeah, I mean, granted too, like her character is basically a caricature, like
Yeah.
just an archetype of like a very doting but like tough sort of enslaved caregiver, I
Yeah,
guess.
no.
I guess that's the um I do find this scene, so like the ending where everything's like happening like so fast. I do find the scene where Melanie comes over and Mammy is like sobbing because Rhett and Scarlett have just like after Bonnie dies, Rhett and Scarlett are
Yeah.
just like completely unraveling.
Yeah.
I do find Hattie McDaniel's like recollection of those events to Melanie and like just her performance and just like overall the mood of that scene like pretty effective. I was like, damn, this is like sad. But
Yeah,
again,
it
it's
was
like, but
sad.
like you're mirroring the death of Scarlett's dad. That's so silly.
It was too much of everything. And whenever they had a good thing, they said, let's multiply it by 3.
They actually had to like condense the script. Like I think the movie took a few more like more years than they wanted to get up on rails because the original script was like for a 6-hour movie because the book that it's based on by Margaret Mitchell is like
Insane.
1,000 pages. It's a fucking huge book.
Just keep it a book then. How about that? We
Fucking
don't need
go
it.
off.
Right?
Absolutely go off.
Just keep it a fucking book. If you want to capture everything that's in the book, just leave it a book. Done.
Leave It a Book is going to
Leave
be
It a Book.
our sequel podcast.
Just leave it a book, man.
Do you think the Scarlet Rhett relationship is a small scale metaphor to the American Civil War? Like they're both the same, like they could describe themselves as being similar, but also they're always at odds with each other. And like the North and the South are obviously part of the same country, but are at odds with each other.
I think you could probably describe anything as a comparison to the American Civil War if you wanted to.
I am fishing for a reason the shit in this movie matters within the historical context that the movie is taking place in.
I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, I guess I see it, but you could say that for fucking the difference between salt and pepper. I don't know. Like,
Mustard and ketchup.
Yeah, I'm always saying mustard and ketchup is a lot like the American Civil War.
You've always said that.
Yeah, since actually those were my first words as a child.
Is the ending supposed to leave us like on a happy note where she's like, where Scarlett, I mean, obviously it's sad, but Scarlett's like, but tomorrow is another day. And then it fucking cuts to black credits.
So fucking stupid. I don't know. I guess we're supposed to be happy. I don't know. I felt nothing. I felt so null. I was like, good, it's over now. That's the only thing anyone in 2023 is thinking. Like, thank God it's over. That's the only, I guarantee it.
Well, to subvert that a little bit, I actually think the last scene has some charge to it.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. I think
Just
it's a little bit. I think it's a
charge?
little bit
What did
interesting.
What did you feel?
I just think like it's like finally all this tension is culminating in something. It's been fucking 4 hours and finally like something is happening where like a character is making a decision to actually do something
Yeah.
that is like active. Because like Rhett's like, okay, finally, after talking about maybe getting divorced for like an hour and a half, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And then Scarlett also is like, oh, I'm actually going to go back to Terra, my beautiful plantation where we owned people, and I'm going to rebuild it and make it as good as it once was because the land is ultimately all that matters, and it's going to be so good that Rhett comes back to me or some shit. Do you have what are your final thoughts? Anything else to say about this godforsaken
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
sack of ass? I don't even hate this movie. I gave it 3 stars.
I'm still not really sure what you like though. Like, is it just because of the movie stuff in it?
Yeah, I love movie stuff. I think the scale of the movie is impressive. I think the epic sweep of the movie is impressive. I think it looks good. I think Scarlett O'Hara is kind of interesting as a character. And that's why it gets the 3 stars ultimately.
Who is the woman that Rhett is always hanging around? Is she supposed to be a prostitute?
Yes, Belle Watling, played by Ona Munson.
Yeah. Scarlett doesn't like her. But then she gives her money to... She's like, I want to support the cause.
Yeah, the Confederacy.
Yeah. Well, it's so... Like, everything is so rooted in that. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be a nice moment where she's contributing and Melanie recognizes her contribution. And it's like, I don't care what your profession is. I won't judge you. Thank you for contributing. But her cause is the Confederacy. So it's all fucked then.
Yeah, there were a few times where like characters died. And I was like, I don't care.
It's like, oh.
You talking about these people who owned people? I don't care. Good. Do you want to hear who else was fucking nominated?
I do.
It just says special on the Oscars page. It says special award winner, Gone with the Wind. I don't know what the fuck that means. Um,
That's one of those things where it's like the award when it came out was probably like I don't know, most racist or something. And then nowadays they're like, we gotta like retroactively correct that thing. Best black caricature was the award. Nowadays they're like, let's adjust that.
funniest racist depiction that we all enjoyed as whites.
Congratulations, Gone with the Wind.
Fuck this movie.
Yeah,
honestly,
honestly.
I don't hate it, but fuck this movie. All right. So outstanding production. We have another one of those. It's not best picture, it's outstanding production.
Oh,
Gone with
okay.
the Wind wins.
Yay.
Other nominees include Dark Victory. Ever heard of it?
No. Is it also about the Civil War?
Oh yeah, who knows? Yeah, it's like oh god, the North. What a
The
dark day
North.
that was when they won. Next nominee, Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
No. No way.
I
Is
find
that the monk? Is Mr. Chips the monkey? Is it Mr. Chips like the motorcycling monkey?
that actually maybe should have won then. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's well. Why are we saying goodbye to him? I would rather say hello.
No, it's some stupid shit.
Oh damn.
Young school teacher imposes strict discipline on his young charges at a Victorian era English public school. I'm literally already falling asleep.
No, who cares? What am I thinking of though?
Mr. Chips is something.
I think you know what? My dad always tells me a story. I think he had a middle school assembly where they brought in a motorcycling monkey, and I think he had to like babysit him.
What are you talking about? Was your dad on the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody? Was that his
No.
life?
Yeah, maybe now that I think about it. I think the monkey's
The
name was
hell?
Mr. Chips, and he rode a motorcycle.
God, that's
That should be a movie.
sad, cool. I feel so many
I don't
different
know
ways
what
about
to
that.
think. Yeah, that's pretty tight. I don't know.
Anyway, next nominee is Love Affair.
What happens in Love Affair?
I wonder.
Why are we naming movies after what it is? I don't know. It's too
Well, that's
descriptive of the plot.
I find that I find that like these old movies, especially, their titles are so literal, like three coins in the fountain.
Yeah, I guess that's just their idea of marketing back then. Because it's
Right.
like you have to know what it's. They're like there was no trailer. There was no. I guess maybe a poster outside the movie theater was
Yeah.
as much as you got.
So you have to be like, this one's about a guy.
And that's the title of your movie. The movie about a guy who does a thing.
This one's about ice cream shop guy.
Oh, I gotta see. Hey, you see the one about ice cream shop guy? It was pretty cool.
Oh, what a backwards time this was. The next movie is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which is stars
was-
Jimmy Stewart, directed by Frank Capra. It's a very famous movie that I've never seen.
What was the Mr. Chips one again?
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
Mr.
Mr. Chips. Okay, so we were just okay. Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Da, 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 da. Anyway.
You were a monkey on a motorcycle. Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da.
Anyway. I bet Monica cut that out.
Yeah, Monica, cut that out.
Next nominee is Ninochka.
What's that?
NinoTchka.
Okay, you have my interest. Ninochka.
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 It's a comedy, a romance comedy. A no-nonsense
rom-com.
diplomat of the Soviet Union, Ninochka Yakushova, played by Greta Garbo, arrives in Paris to ensure the sale of jewels seized during the Russian Revolution. Meanwhile, carefree bachelor Count Leon Dalgot, played
Nice.
by Melvin Douglas, attempts to intercept the valuables on behalf of their former owner, the Grand Duchess Swana, played by Ina Claire. Despite
Okay.
their conflicting allegiances, the icy Ninochka soon warms to Leon's charms, reluctantly going against her better judgment. So it sounds like every fucking romance ever made.
Oh, I was gonna say it sounds kind of cool.
But also it sounds very specific in a way that is interesting.
There's a jewel thief. I would give that the. You know what? I haven't seen it, but just based on the description, I'll give the Oscar to that.
That's
Shout out
really
to
nice.
Ninochka. Yeah.
That's really nice of you.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
So many movies were nominated. How many?
Oh,
were
there are a
I feel like
lot. Okay.
there was 10. Of Mice and Men is next.
Oh, okay. I've seen Of Mice and Men.
The old one? Is that the? Because I've seen the one with Gary Sinise and
Oh, maybe that one
John
I've seen.
Malkovich.
Yeah, that's the one. My bad. I would give the
Yeah.
Oscar to that actually, the John Malkovich version.
Next up is Stagecoach, the John Ford movie starring John Wayne, a movie I've never seen, but I will probably
Oh.
see one day.
I've seen like scenes from that. Doesn't he rob a stagecoach?
I know. I think what the movie's about is a stagecoach is traveling and it comes under attack by indigenous people of the Americas.
Hmm.
So I think it's probably a really sensitive movie
Really woke for its time.
about the colonization of not only the U.S. but the West.
Nice.
Next up is The Wizard of Oz. This should have won.
Oh, okay. Oh, I never forget everything I just said. Give it to the Wizard of Oz then.
Wizard of
I
Oz
like
should
that
have won.
movie.
And then finally is Wuthering Heights, based off the Emily Bronte novel,
I've
directed
heard
by
of the
William
book.
Wyler. Do you feel like
You're really gonna ask me this?
Gone with the Wind is Best Picture worthy?
No, I'll give it to Wizard of Oz. I'll get to any of these. Nah, maybe not any of these. Some of these are probably also bad. I'll give it to Wizard of Oz. I like that movie.
Yeah, it's
Scarecrow
like
walks
a
around with
5-star
a gun.
masterpiece.
That movie has flying monkeys. This one does not. Goodbye, Mr. Chips should have had flying monkeys. I
Maybe
don't
one of the
know.
monkeys in The Wizard of Oz, drop my phone, is named Mr. Chips.
Oh, so it's a spin-off of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I do
Like one of the
that.
flying monkeys somehow gets he gets whirled into the magic that transports
Yes.
Dorothy back to Kansas,
Yeah.
and he gets like a job at a local watering
Well,
hole. A local
I
soda factory.
I do like this as a concept. In fact, put a pin in that. I would like to have some discussions with you and your agent.
Thank you. And it's
'Cause I do
called
like that.
Hello, Mr. Chips. Welcome
There you
to the economy.
I like that. I do like that a lot.
Thanks, man.
So you want to hear what the people had to say?
Yeah, I can't imagine it's good.
Believe it or not, a lot of positive reviews. Like, it's people being like, "Oh, this is, cinema history and all that stuff," which I don't really care about cinema history. I just don't think it was a good movie.
We give too much credit to just like, oh, this movie was very famous once, and it's like, okay,
But
so what?
like, I like to think that what we're doing is we're taking a look at these and being like, "But is it good?" That should be the name of the show. Is it good though?
Yeah.
And this one is not. Give me a name of someone who just blew into town.
Chet Smith.
Chet Smith.
Chet Hanks.
Chet Hanks writes, 1 star. Scarlett a trifling ass hoe. Cringe lines. Cringe acting. Long AF. Boring AF. Nearly a more worse experience than 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies. I completely disagree. Fine.
Nearly a more worse experience.
Yeah.
Give me the name of someone who just built a house, but the house is too small.
Buster Keaton.
Okay, Buster Keaton writes, watched my 70th anniversary 2-disc DVD. The audio is terrible. I'm not sure if the disc is degrading or if it's not being read well by my Xbox Series X or if it's always been this bad. And I've not noticed. 2 stars.
Imagine like Imagine telling somebody who saw this movie when they were like 7, like in 2013, like, hey, I'm watching Gone with the Wind on my Xbox. It's like, what?
That's what this guy did.
That's so funny.
Imagine telling someone in 1940 that someone's gonna watch the 2-disc DVD on their Xbox Series X. Their minds would explode.
It's my Gears of War edition Xbox with a fucking Gears of War skin on it.
I got the fucking Master Chief Edition Xbox so I could watch the HD resolution version of Gone with the Wind. And it was worth every penny. Give me the name of someone who just had a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
Alexander Andriadis.
Oh, very good. Very good. Very accurate. 4.5 stars. Minus a half star for the slavery stuff.
That's crazy. But fine.
Minus half a star. You get a demerit for that.
Next week,
give me something good, man.
We're talking Argo.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So all of you listeners need to Argo fuck yourself.
Nice.
Hop in Ben Affleck's Argo. And remember a time in 2012 when people were like, Argo's like the best.
Is it? We'll find out.
We'll find out. See you next week. Wieners.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum.